Good morning. I was going to put this in an email, but pictures are worth 1,000 words, and typing is a massive, massive effort. So I thought I'd just film this instead and just shuffle stuff around my desk, off screen, so no one can see that. And drink Coke. Yeah, basically, today, casual Saturday, as it is, and I thought, yeah, why not? So I went skydiving. Got out of bed 6:30 in the morning. Not seen that time of day for a long time, for a good reason, because it actually sucks. Like, nothing happens at 6:30 in the morning. And, yeah, got the bus at 7:30, and a lot of that hour was spent walking down to the bus stop. And then 7:30 till 8, I was on the bus to Peterlee, which is like that way. I'm in Durham here. It's like whoosh. Signed up for a jump, and yeah, like to begin with, the weather was really kind of miserable, and it was like a little bit drizzling, and there were low clouds, and they're like, you can't jump if there's low cloud. You have to be able to see where you're jumping. And I was like, well, theoretically, I'm going to be landing in the area I'm falling towards. You would think, like, you know, sorry, I'm not exactly going to be, Matt, you need to land on the moon. What? Gravity's not pulling that way. No, like, you know, gravity pulls you down, you land on the floor. Not exactly rocket science. Anyone could tell you that. But, yeah, so, like, you have to be able to see where you're landing, so you can't jump just yet. And I thought, oh, but I've been up, I've got here for 8 o'clock, you opened at 8:30. Like, I am just trying my best to get here on time. So, 8:30 till 10, we just sat there, idly playing cards, drinking Coke, trying to ignore the fact you were about to throw ourselves out of the plane. 10:30, we had our refresher training, in case you forget anything important, and we got stuck with this really boring instructor who spends forever discussing everything in excruciatingly painful detail. He is notorious for it, and half the exec of the society really dislike him because of it. And then at 11:30, yes, refresher training took an hour and a half. Like, ridiculous. 11:30, we finished that, and they're like, yeah, so, you're all ready to jump. Let's just hope the weather clears up. It did. 11:45, we heard on the tannoy that we had to go get kitted up, so we put on our little student jumpsuit thing, basically like a boiler suit. Think of the janitor from Scrubs. That attractive. Then we went and put a parachute on, and then we sat there, and then then the instructor double checked to make sure we were putting our equipment on correctly. Then we sat there some more. Then, like, they were like the first three: Matthew Loxton, Jason Ung, and Robert Davies. You're up. And we were like, we're gonna jump out of a plane. The plane was unbelievably, ridiculously small. It was like, yeah, you know what? It's about the size of my bed. Like, yeah, that's how big it was. And there was only one seat, which was funny enough for the pilot. Everyone else had to kind of pile in either behind the pilot, but not holding onto the pilot's chair. That was an important point, because that kind of pisses him off. Or pile in next to the pilot. And as an example of how crappy this plane really was, we were told that during takeoff, because our bags were particularly heavy, because they were loaded full of 4,000-pound parachutes, you had to like get up onto your knees and then lean forward, so that you kind of could help tip the plane like that, so it could then take off. I thought, yeah, the plane is so crappy that you have to actually have the passengers aid its takeoff. That's when there is a problem. But it worked. Like, you know, we got in the plane, we leant forward, and it took off. That was when I had my first oh Jesus moment, because the plane was moving really quite fast. You could actually feel it like rocking under you. I just thought, oh crap. Like, I'm actually taking off in a bucket with wings, and I'm actually going to throw myself out of it at like several thousand feet in the air. Which was, you know, a bit scary. Long videos, requires multiple parts. So whilst we were also taking off, like, oddly enough, the only thing that was going through my head was my fat mate, in a very northern accent, saying, it were proper scary. imagine that in a like really thick Rotherham accent. That was just what was playing through my head over and over again. I just thought, not really helping the situation. So then we got to, we climbed to like higher and higher, and the instructor that was with us kept saying, every 500 feet, you know, check your altimeter, then look outside so you can see, you can compare what it looks like at each stage. And I thought, great. So 500 feet, I was like, well, what can I see from here? Oh, I can still identify a sheep. Looked out the window again, realised that at 800 feet I could still just about distinguish between a horse and a cow. 1,000 feet, nothing else really happened. 2,000 feet, everything looked a little bit smaller, but nothing really happened. 3,000 feet, everything looked a little bit smaller still, not much else. Horses, cows and sheep all kind of look the same at this point. 3,500 feet, they opened the door so that the first guy could get out. That's when I had my second oh Jesus moment, because this thing just opened and there was just this roar of air, because obviously you're moving like 70, 80 miles an hour, like forwards. There's just this roar of air and just like this, I don't know, force trying to drag me out of it. And I just thought, oh crap, I'm just going to go barreling out of this plane, like taking out everyone in between the door and me with me. Casual Coke. So, the first guy climbed out the door and got into position, and I will explain to you just how awful this prospect was, because it was absolutely ridiculous. And we shouted, you know, go! And he leapt off and disappeared. And I say disappeared like he actually disappeared, because he was moving so fast that way, and we were moving so fast that way, you just didn't see him anymore. You just kind of had to assume that he wasn't dying, and he had actually opened his parachute. Well, the parachute opened automatically because it's a static line, but you had to kind of assume that it was working. And, like, in the radios that we had attached to our helmets, all you could hear were the people on the ground shouting, turn left now, left now, turn left, left, and they just started then adding just swear words to it, just to kind of, you know, nail home the point that he had to really turn left. Didn't actually turn left, so we just assumed that his radio wasn't working. And because his radio wasn't working, it's kind of dangerous to let a student just jump without a radio. We then had to land, because Jason decided his radio wasn't working either. So like, okay, we'll land, we'll replace the radios. You know, does this radio work for you now? And he was like, yeah, it works. Like, Matt, does your radio work? And I was like, yeah, I hear everything, it's fine. And so we landed. Jason got a new radio, took back off again, got back to 3,500 feet. They threw Jason out the plane. And I just thought, oh my god, I'm next. Crap. So then I called into position, and it dawned on me. Anyway, it dawned on me. Yeah, that sounds better. I couldn't actually hear anything they were saying to Jason. Oh, one moment.